Donna, the bookkeeping lady, the accountant lady, whatever it is I'm calling myself this week. Had a very restful weekend. I hope you did too. It is Monday, April 9th. It's the day after my youngest sister's birthday. Happy birthday, Danielle. If you find these videos helpful in any way, if I just entertain you, if there's any value here for you, please like, share, subscribe, share the love. I'm really here to help business owners build their businesses. And a lot of the ways that I do that, the biggest way that I do that is by providing them the information that they need to make good decisions for their business. And this starts from the day you file your business with your state. It's really an important thing to do right out the gate, is get someone right out of the gate that understands bookkeeping and accounting and can help you with these questions. Which leads me into my question. I was asked this last Thursday, which kind of surprised me, and I wrote it down as one that I wanted to talk about. This was a client in a different state. He asked about licensing bookkeepers. Do I need to be licensed to be a bookkeeper? And he was very worried because we are talking about doing business together. And let me assure you, that was a wonderful question. That was one that when I first started bookkeeping, I didn't know. I just kind of assumed that I was going to need some sort of licensure. Actually, bookkeepers are not licensed. Now, this kind of goes back into the alphabet soup that I talked about last week. There are so many designations, but if there's the word certified is in front of anything, then yes, they have to be licensed. Yes, the licensure is rigorous. If there's letters behind their name, then they probably have to be certified in some kind, licensed, go through some fairly rigorous licensing. EAs have to be, they don't have to be licensed with the state, but they do have to take a test before the IRS. And the reason for that is that they are able to represent, and it's the point of becoming an EA. It's an enrolled agent is what it means. That's what that stands for. And they are able to represent their clients before the IRS. And so they have to be certified to do that, or licensed, so to speak. But that is something between them and the IRS. It doesn't mean that they're going to the state and saying, you know, I need a license. Certified public accountants do have to take a test. They do have to have a certain number of continuing education hours every year in order to maintain their license. As of today, April 9th, 2018, I am not a CPA. I am an accountant, as in I do accounting, but I'm not required by any state to be licensed to perform my duties. Which is kind of interesting because I do know there are states that license people who braid hair. I don't know why that's the case. I just know that I don't have to be licensed before the state as a bookkeeper. There's no professional licensing that goes into this. Presumably I know how to write a check and how to count. And that's really, you know, the bookkeeper's the person that's in the trenches with you. They are doing the day-to-day data entry. So basically, they're data entry clerks. Like I said, I'm an accountant. I am a little bit further up from that. I can take the picture, the grand picture, look at the grand scheme of things. I can explain your reports to you. A bookkeeper, again, they're just kind of a grunt, may not be able to do that. A lot of them cannot. And it's always interesting because it's such a competitive field. And I have had more clients than I can tell you say, you know, oh, my last bookkeeper was an idiot, you know, or, you know, they've gone through 5 or 6 because they just want it done a certain way. Kind of the trick with bookkeeping is there are different styles. If someone is trained as an auditor, they're probably a lot more nitpicky than I am. I am not an auditor. I don't really want to be, but I do want to know more about it. And, you know, as my business grows, I will be hiring an auditor. I've got one already interviewed, and he's kind of just ready to go. The reason is that their job is to look through the books and make sure everything's correct. And that means processes and procedures as well. Oh, excuse me. It's springtime allergies are absolutely killing me. I hope you guys aren't going through all that. So I'm able to take, the top-down view. I'm able to offer some, this is what I would do sort of advice. I am not a fiduciary. I'm not going to sign your checks for you. I don't want to be a signer on your account. I don't even want a stamp of your signature because I want to protect my clients and I want to protect my staff from even the suspicion that something might be hinky. So if we can't sign checks, we can prepare your checks for you to print and sign, but we can't and won't sign them for you. It's something I have never done. I won't ever do. I think before I really started in the bookkeeping business, I had clients that would have me pay their bills for them, and I would go online and pay all their bills, including mine. And I tell you, that made me so uncomfortable because I like to have some layers of protection of, I don't want my bookkeepers to get checks for their work. I want them to submit their hours to me, let me submit the bill, and let me collect payment worked out with the client. Again, the reason is anytime you go on the news and you hear about another bookkeeper has been embezzling funds, we don't want to have the opportunity to do that. I'm just insanely careful about that. So bookkeepers are not required to be licensed. You can hire just about anybody to be a bookkeeper. I strongly recommend, and this is not just because this is what I do for a living, but I strongly recommend that you get someone on the outside of your company to do your day-to-day data entry, unless you have such a huge company that you need someone full-time on site. And they do get to that point. Even in that case, I would really recommend that you work with an outside auditor or an outside party to, at least a couple of times a year to certify your books, make sure they're correct. That's what a CPA does, by the way. The things that I do not require licensure. Like I said, it was a really great question. Thank you, Arsenio, for asking it. You are awesome, and I'm looking forward to working with you. I do bookkeeping nationwide. I talked, I think it was last Friday, about how, don't limit yourself to just your local providers. If you can't find a bookkeeper that's going to be a good fit for you, reach out to me. We have a proven system. I have done this for years, and I am really excited to continue to move forward with it. This is just huge. I'm excited to continue to serve my clients here in Utah, and I'm excited to hopefully get some clients outside of Utah for a lot of different reasons, this way. Yeah. So I am getting ready to make some changes in my personal life. I do find that it's not really appropriate for a business video anyway. That's about it for today. No, bookkeepers do not have to be licensed, not even in New York or California, which are probably the most license-heavy states. What we do is pretty simple, and I'm glad we don't need to have licensing on it. So just to kind of point some things out, I have had the worst books I have seen, hands down, the worst books I've ever seen, were hopelessly commingled. We're still trying to figure these out, and the company owner is an accountant. So just because someone has the license or has the letters behind their name, it really doesn't mean very much. Every time I've looked at really awful books, it was an accountant or a CPA that owned the business. A lot of people are book smart. They've taken the classes, they've regurgitated the right things on the test, and they have no idea how things operate in real life. I've been in this industry for years, let's see, started my first bookkeeping company November of 2008, so 10 years this year, and I had been doing bookkeeping prior to that, so I probably have 15 years of experience doing bookkeeping or accounting in some form, everything from being just an accounts receivable clerk to being an accounts payable clerk to seeing the whole picture. And it's been a really rewarding career. I really like helping business owners make it through their payroll audits, make it through some of the scarier things that have come up. Payroll audit is usually the most common one, and I always refer them to one of my payroll guys. But my goal is not to just my goal is not to have the happiest bookkeeping clients on earth. My goal is to, although I think that I will, if I do what my real mission is, my goal is to provide my clients with the tools and information that they need to grow their business. And they may not always be happy with me, and that's okay. I'm not always happy with them. But if they're unhappy with me because I'm telling them to do things a certain way and they're not following through, every single client that I've had with that situation where it's, put the money aside right now for sales tax, to, no, you need to file those forms. Let me show you how, but you have to do it yourself. I was really clear. They're the ones that have gone under every single time. So if you want to grow your business, start by messaging me. Comment below. I do read the comments. I do answer the comments. And yes, it is all me. And by the way, if you're filling out my leads form, I will call you. I will call you within 24 hours. This is my business. I'm not a big corporation. I had one person say, we always try to look big on Facebook, and I'm not that big. And so, yeah, I like to give my clients a personal touch. So this is just me. Please comment below. Please send me a private message. Please ask me any questions that you have. The only stupid question is the one that you didn't ask because you were afraid it was a dumb question. 99.9% of the time when my clients say, well, I know this is a dumb question, but no, it's actually a really good one. Questions are how you find out what you need to know anyway. So don't be afraid to ask. I think that's it for today. I have got to run to my crazy arcade client. So I will talk to you again soon. Have a wonderful day.